Citizenship business is exhausted with a lot of the same information being repeated over and over again as it relates to the citizenships and the residency options. So it's usually about the same typical European residencies or the South American options or the Caribbean citizenship options, but there's really nothing new. So I wanted to shed some light on a very important area which is ignored and not really talked about by many, and I'm talking about the Gulf options. They are very unique, strong, solid and stable Gulf options, and there are 5 countries in the Gulf region, and they are Oman, UAE, Bahrain, Qatar and Kuwait. So none of these options lead to any type of citizenship. They may lead to a permanent residency but not really to a citizenship in most cases, which you don't want, right? You want a protective, high quality, secure residency that's going to give you that ultimate peace of mind and protection. Not a whole lot of countries can mess around with the Gulf countries, so you have a lot of unique benefits in that regard. You don't necessarily want the citizenship for obvious reasons. You already have something on the side. Let's say it's one of the CBIs and you're pairing that with a good quality, strong, stable, solid, protective residency, then this is a very good option. In fact, one of the best options out there when you compare it with some other smaller countries. It might be easy for someone to gain access over you, but when you're talking about the Gulf region, it's pretty stable, strong and protective once you're on the land. I'm going to skip Kuwait because I think the other 4 are much more stronger, stable, solid and provide with free residency options. So I'm going to focus more on the top 4 options here. Out of the 4, I'm going to get started with Oman, which I feel is the best residency option as compared to the other ones out there. And the reason why I pick Oman as number 1 is because when you consider the budget, the minimum investment required, the quality of permit that you get and the flexibility that the country offers, I think is better as compared to the other options out there. And this is a personal opinion, this is not immigration advice. The specific use cases where Oman truly makes the best sense as compared to some of the other options, and again it all depends upon personal situation, personal circumstances. Certain use cases might favor a different residency, but this one really is pretty unique. So let's get started with the Oman option. In Oman you have 2 main areas. One is Al Mouj and the second one is Muscat Hills. There are other areas where you can invest as well, but these are the main kind of 2 areas where people normally invest. The minimum entry is really nothing. As long as you have an apartment, you apply for a residency and you get the permit. It's a 2-year permit which can be extended indefinitely as long as you have the property. You get the residency for yourself, for your family, for your parents, for your siblings. So it's absolutely crazy. It covers a lot of people at no minimum cost. Now, practically speaking, you're going to buy in one of the ITCs, which is the tourism complexes. It's a government authorized projects which the developers then come and develop their buildings in these areas. And one might think, okay, it's government approved, it's a loss of money, but that's not true. It's actually a quality project. The government has built this for a good quality of life for outsiders so that they enjoy their time when they are spending time in their residency. A lot of the locals are actually heavily investing in the ITCs because they see the value. They want that lifestyle. They want to live with the foreign community, and that's why it's quite attractive for them. Returns have been great. Prices have been going up like crazy since the time they were started. The prices, by the time the flat is finished, the prices almost double in certain circumstances. It's a great investment for locals, so they're really competing with the foreign buyers to actually purchase in the ITC. So the quality of life provided in an ITC is much better than what's created in the outside community. So Al Mouj would typically cost you for a 1-bedroom apartment. If you're looking for a property without a sea view, then it starts off with 75 Omani Riyal, which is approximately 180-190k USD. So that's where you start from, then you keep going up from there. If you're looking at Muscat Hills, which is not on the ocean, it's inland, you're talking about a minimum amount of 47 to 50 Omani Riyal, which is approximately 125-ish K USD. and then it goes up from there. So at such a low investment, you get your own property, which is going to go up in value, and in return you're going to get a quality residency permit for your entire family. So I think this is an absolute amazing deal. And in my opinion, it's not an overpriced real estate. It's going to actually appreciate based on the investment that you do. If you're looking for a sea view, prices will go up. But if you're looking for a quiet, high quality, stable residency, we're going to spend a couple of weeks to, let's say, a couple of months, a year, and this is an extremely beautiful option. So I pick Oman as number one overall. Now, if I was looking at luxurious lifestyle and the conveniences and the bells and whistles, and if I don't mind spending slightly more money, then I would definitely look at Qatar as the number one option. The deal with Qatar is it starts off with a minimum investment of 200k USD, and then it goes up. There are two main areas that you can consider in Qatar. One is the Pearl Qatar, which is on the ocean. You can get a beautiful sea-facing, sea view, one-bedroom apartment starting off from, let's say, 380k up and onwards. That's 380k USD, and that's if you're looking for in Pearl. But if you're just looking for an entry point and you're on a budget, then you can look at Lusail, which is slightly inwards. It's not on the directly on the ocean, and prices over there would start off from 200k USD and then upwards for a one-bedroom apartment. So that's on the cheaper side. But if you're looking for a luxurious, sea-facing, glamorous, spectacular view and a great apartment, then the Pearl Qatar is a good option. Now, be mindful that when you compare Oman with Qatar, I think one of the big differences is the monthly service costs. Let's say in Oman, the cheapest option in Muscat Hills, you're looking at $80 to $100 a month service charge. That's the HOA or the maintenance fee that we're talking about. When you compare and contrast that with, let's say, a Qatar, prices can go up to $300, $400, $500 USD per month for maintenance. So you're comparing, let's say, 100 on one side to a 300 on the other side. So that's the difference in the monthly costs that you would incur. These aren't intentionally inflated for Qatar. It's just that it's more of a luxury experience and scale, and that's why they charge you more. And in Oman, it does have luxury, but the prices are low, so it's much more affordable and cheaper. I'm going to make detailed videos on each residency where I'm going to cover the minimum requirements, what's the kind of residency permit you get, what's the process, how you can get started, all of that. So subscribe so you get access to that content. So these are the top two options. Then you also have Bahrain. Bahrain is a good option. The deal with Bahrain is similar. You spend 50k Bahraini dinar. That's the minimum investment in property. You buy the property, you qualify for a residency permit, indefinitely renewable, and again, a great option. Certain use cases, your Bahrain would work much better. But if you're just generally comparing all these options, my number one pick is Oman, number two pick is Qatar, and number three would be Bahrain. Now, based on your personal circumstances, things can drastically shift and change. Certain situation requires a certain residency, whereas other situations would require something else. So it all depends upon what's your personal circumstances. I'll cover some top benefits of these Gulf residencies as compared to some of the other lightweight options. One of the biggest benefits that I see is that in a lot of the other countries, let's say South American or the European, people, the different languages spoken, necessarily not everyone understands English. But when you talk about these Gulf regions, they speak in English. It's very easy to not only survive but flourish when you're there, because everyone speaks English, everyone is highly educated, and the quality of life is extremely good. The second advantage is the level of protection is much higher as compared to some of the other lightweight options. The other benefits are these are richer countries. So the experience when you're traveling at an airport, they're not nitpicky over small little things. They have certain allowances which are quite generous, and in general they will treat you with a lot more difference, let's say, as compared to any of the poorer nations that you would otherwise travel to, and there'll be a lot more questions. Let's say you're going to North Macedonia, and I saw a video on YouTube where someone was carrying an used drone, but they made the person pay some duty, and they actually took the person to court for such a small scenario. But when you're comparing the same experience, let's say on the Gulf side, rich countries, people coming in, shopping a lot, spending a lot, carrying a lot of duty-free items, etc. So that experience is much more seamless, smooth, more sensible, more enjoyable when you're traveling in and out of a Gulf country. Again, you got to be in the legal limits and follow all the laws and all of that, but just the experience and the attitude is much more understanding, it's much more flexible, and it's much more sensible. So I really enjoy that experience, that premium treatment, as compared to some of the smaller nations where there's a lot of more questions and unnecessary delays and time spent at the airport explaining small little things. The fourth advantage is the quality of life is much more premium. Some of the other residencies, you might live there, spend some time, but the quality of time would be staying in a, let's say, a third world country or a poorer lifestyle. But when you talk about the Gulf countries, it's a richer, nicer, premium time that you would spend in the Gulf region. The other stereotype or the narrative that's promoted is that the Gulf countries are conservative and, you know, got it stricter and all of that. But again, they're conservative for their own community. They will follow what they have to follow based on the religion. But for an outsider or a foreigner, it's extremely modern. That's why when you see pictures, you see, let's say, a local woman in a burqa versus someone in a bikini, both at the same place, enjoying the same sunshine on the same beach, and they live in harmony and peace. And that's what you want, right? You want diversity, you want one community enjoying their religion, their culture, and then you also have outsiders living their life, enjoying their life the way they like, and the communities live in peace, harmony, their understanding towards each other, and that's what you get in a Gulf region. If you want to get started with any of your investment in any of these countries, and if you're looking for a residency permit, click the link in the description. We can discuss your use case, finalize the best residency, and get you started with your application. And if you haven't subscribed, subscribe so you get notified of any new content. Hit the bell notification and give me a thumbs up if you like this video. And until next time, you take care and goodbye.